I previously sent you all an email regarding the recruiting of a grocery store to the west side. I've only received a response back from Mayor Prince. When I say the west side, I mean south of 73, west of Stillwell Boulevard. This area is considered to be a food desert, a district with little or no access to large grocery stores that offer fresh and affordable foods needed to maintain a healthy diet. It is from my understanding the greatest hindrance to reversing this injustice and recruiting a grocery store to the area is the lack of rooftops, population. While I do understand the reason behind wanting to move the Carver Terrace housing development in closer proximity to already established amenities surrounding Highway 365, opposed to, say, the old Franklin site, I have to ask if there were any consideration regarding the negative effects of this relocation would have on the people south of Highway 73 in Port Arthur, specifically its west side. I cannot help but believe that relocating such a large population center from the west side would make an already uphill battle to get a grocery store in this side of town even steeper. I would like to ask that you don't redirect my question to the Housing Authority or the EDC. As council members, I believe it is your job to create solutions to current city problems, not to shift the responsibility to others, essentially leading to nothing being done. Thanks.
Dancing in the middle of the night.
Councilmember Freeman.
Yes, hey, good morning, Cuevas. How are you? You know, I agree. There is some things that we need to do or come up with some creative ways to get some fresh vegetables, things like that on the west side. I know that the city had something to do with the Citco. I know it's, and I don't want to go there as far as with convenience stores because that's what we have too much of. But for the one on, just for example, the one on Gulfway and Savannah, I think from when the city of Port Arthur got involved, one of the things that they wanted to make sure that they had in that store was fresh vegetables and fruit. So if you go in there, you see that there is something, but again, it's a convenience store, something that I think is, we've been feeding our children for far too long on chips and drinks, and the only thing that they have access to. I've spoken with an HEB representative a few months back about possibly doing, they have a to-go type grocery store. Really, it's not all groceries, it's more on the fruits and vegetables side. And she's speaking with her higher ups and seeing if there's anything we can do to possibly get that van or that trailer on the west side on certain days.
Pushing too many people, hate is just a sequel, cause still nobody's equal.
That's something, but then also we have the beautification committee right now that's working on open space. We have a lot of land in the city of Port Arthur, so they're working right now on community gardens. In my eyes, my vision, I'd like to see the long term be we take some of the vegetables and some of those fruits that we're growing in the community gardens and some of these vacant lots that are overgrown, and we come up with a farmer's market on the west side. We have something that's dedicated on every Saturday possibly, where you could come out and get you some fresh vegetables, some fresh fruit, fresh, again, fresh things that can live a good, healthy life. So there are things that we're considering, that I've been working on. I know other council members also have been speaking about things and trying to do some things. It's not, my point to you would be is something that is top of the mind for us also. It's not anything that we've forgotten about. We hadn't forgot about our citizens. We, again, just have to come up with creative and strategic ways to make it happen. So I did want to put those two ideas out there, things that we're working on, or a crew of us have been working on. So I don't want you to think that it's something that again, we don't want to do. And if there's something that I could partner with you to make it happen, I'd be more than happy to do it. Just let me know. Thank you for coming up today.
Okay. A convenience store is not an adequate source of groceries or anything. If you can go inside of Citco, you can see the produce they have in there, and I wouldn't buy their produce. I'm sure none of you will either. But that's just my last point. But thank you. I do plan to work with you.
Yeah, thank you.
And Mr. Peacock, I've got a couple of other lights on, but I did refer you, when you sent me the email, to the Housing Authority. Carver Terrace is Housing Authority property, not the city's property, and there's a big difference. So that's why I referred you to the Housing Authority.
Yes, ma'am, I understand that, but I'm talking about the remainder of the west side, the non-people in the Carver Terrace, people in Lewis Manor who's not Housing Authority, or the people who
What
live
about
without
them?
We're in need of a grocery store on that side of town.
And the other part was, and I've spoken with the city manager, and I think I've spoken with the attorney. The city, and attorney, correct me if I'm wrong, the city cannot build a grocery store. Is that correct? Or the city, I spoke with the city manager now. Come on, I need an answer.
No,
I understand that.
So, and we have tried, we are trying to get a grocery store, but we can't build a grocery store.
I understand that, but that city.
And he said he didn't care if he died. That's why I get high.
Has mentioned HEB. We've spoken with HEB also, and they were, at the time, they were not interested in putting a store over there. And I don't know if any other grocer that's interested in going over there.
Dancing in the middle of the night.
West side. I know that the city had something to do with the Citco. I know it's, and I don't want to go there as far as with convenience stores because that's what we have too much of. But for the one on, just for example, the one on Gulfway and Savannah, I think from when the city of Port Arthur got involved, one of the things that they wanted to make sure that they had in that store was fresh vegetables and fruit. So if you go in there, you see that there is something, but again, it's a convenience store, something that I think is, we've been feeding our children for far too long on chips and drinks, and the only thing that they have access to. I've spoken with an HEB representative a few months back about possibly doing, they have a to-go type grocery store. Really, it's not all grocers, it's more on the fruits and vegetable side. And she's speaking with her higher-ups and seeing if there's anything we can do to possibly get that van or that trailer on the west side on certain days.
I know the mixtape is late.
You ever feel like getting high?
Fuck it.
You ever feel like
But it's here now, though.
leaving this world?
Still smoking. Part 3, man.
Freeman has mentioned HEB. We've spoken with HEB also, and they were, at the time, they were not interested in putting a store over there. And I don't know if any other grocer that's interested in going over there. And but it has to come from that sector, not from the city. It has to come from that sector. And that's what we're trying. We're trying. Okay, and I understand, and I understand what you said about the community gardens, because Reverend Allen has been working with the city. He wants to do the 2-block thing with the community garden. But I don't know that would suffice either for what it is that you're looking for, because it's not a grocery store. It would just be a community garden, but it would help in some sense.
It would suffice. I just want to make sure something is being done. 'Cause I remember I spoke to Councilmember Freeman about it over a year ago, and so I'm just trying to see what's the current timeline, because it's been a while, and we haven't had a grocery store on that side of town since Hurricane Rita, so it's been a while.
But
I just want to make sure
he
something's
can't
done.
get, and I'm gonna be honest with you, and I've known you since you were a little boy. I wouldn't lie to you, sir. He can't give you a timeline. He can't do that unless he's got money in his pocket to build a grocery store. He can't do that. That's up to we have to be able to convince somebody to come out there and put a grocery store. We're working on that.
That's true, but what he can give me is to his promise that he's making a priority, which he has. He let me know it will be a priority on his list. I just want to make sure that it's a priority on everyone's list, because this is a big problem. Streets are fine. I understand streets are a big priority, but if somebody can't feed their family with adequate produce, that's an even bigger priority in my opinion. So I just want to make sure it's a priority on everyone's one.
If he died, that's why I get high. Dancing in the middle of the night. Dancing in the moonlight. That's why I get high.